Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast, the podcast you come to when you're finally ready to take fantasy hockey seriously. My name is Naker Niblink. I'm the creator of Apples and Ginos, originator of the Zero G draft strategy. In this show, Blake and I are going to put a Christmas spin on fantasy hockey. Let's get it. And of course, I have your friend and my best friend. It's Blake Creamer. Blake, how are we feeling tonight?
Oh, I feel great, buddy. I love that sultry, smooth, smoky voice you got there. It's like a young Barry White. The sexy sounds of I don't know. I'm going with this. I'm sorry, Nathan, but hey, folks, the show must go on. All right, we got to get the biz. It's holiday season. The holiday season. Sloop deep doop and flap it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. That's not accurate, but it's good to be here, man. I'm excited. This is my first day off after, work, and we're getting into the holidays, so it's always a really fun time. And I'm excited to be here with you and with these fine folks here talking fantasy puck.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's high time we did that. I don't really want to dig too far into our matchups. We were doing some commiserating beforehand. I mean, I shouldn't complain. I'm gonna win 3 of 5 this week. The Cats League, the $100 Cats League. I'm gonna win the Cacuffle Tier 1 Sweden. Actually, I think I'm gonna go to number 1 there this week, so that's nice. I might also go to number 1 in the Fantasy Puck Content Creators League. But I'm losing what was a close one till today in the Experts League to Evan, who's got a sweet team going this year. Losing again in the APL Tier 1. That's been by far my toughest league this year. I'm going to go to 3-8 there. I just don't know that I'm going to be able to come back there. Yeah, that's a tough one for me to stomach. I can't remember the last time I haven't made the playoffs, and it's looking like a tougher and tougher road to hoe to find my way back to the playoffs there. You don't have to talk about your fantasy hockey matchups here tonight if you don't want to, Blake, but the floor is yours to do with as you wish.
You know damn well I want to talk about my fantasy matchups, all right? And Nathan, I got to say, you're never going to come back with that attitude, okay?
That's true.
You got to think positive, son. But this has been a brutal night for fantasy for me. I had so I've got 6 head-to-head leagues that I'm doing, and I was leading them all until today, and 3 of them flipped. 3. Oh man, this is like the worst thing ever. You know what? But that happening, like I just have to zoom out a little bit and have some perspective, right? And that perspective is it's holiday time. It's Christmas time out here, and that's a great time of year. So, you know what? Jimmy Crack Corn and I don't care. I'll take some L's here. That's fine. But I also didn't appreciate you saying you're going to number 1 in the Fantasy Puck Content Creators League because that spot belongs to me, son. All right? You got to pry it from my cold, dead hands. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everyone. I guess it depends how these matchups close still, but I'm hoping to. I'm hoping that I'm coming for you there. But 1-2 A and G on top of the Fantasy Puck League. I don't think we'd be too sad about that. Either way, let's get into the Newsies. Blake.
Newsies! Oh yeah, buddy. He just trampled over my Newsies. He doesn't care. All right. Nate is on heavy doses of cold medicine. So if you want to see something really good, get on over to YouTube. Check out this mug. I mean, it's pretty easy to look at. I'll tell you that right now. I'm very grateful that I get to do that on a weekly basis. But let's get to biz. We got to talk about the news. Jack Hughes, Jack's back, and he scored a goal. Unbelievable. That was really surprising news coming out today. Going to bed, I remember seeing Sheldon Keefe say we're going to get some bodies back tomorrow. I was thinking Gritziuk. I was thinking Meyer. I was not thinking Jack Hughes. So that's pretty exciting stuff. So hopefully you were able to get him back in your lineups here tonight, get him in for that goal. New Jersey, yeah, I mean, we're actually going to talk about them a little bit today. A lot of their players came up on some of the stuff we're going to be going into here on this Christmas episode, the holiday episode. So, yeah, it's been a rough go, but injecting Jack Hughes back in the lineup, really nice stuff. So, I don't know. What the hell was Jack Hughes doing? what happened to his finger? Apparently he did nothing wrong, Nate. That's been confirmed. But I read a totally unconfirmed report. He was juggling knives. Have you heard about this?
There's plenty of theories. I think
Yeah.
the one we've all heard is that he put his hand through a glass table, but we're not entirely sure why or how. Yeah, I think that either way, it's an odd injury in a season of odd injuries, and we should just be happy that Jack's back.
Jack's back, baby. He's got a mangled finger, but it doesn't matter, right? He doesn't affect his shooting, so clearly. Anyways, yeah, him, Timo Meier, Arseny Gricic all returned to the lineup on Sunday here, and they got beat by the Buffalo Sabres 3-1. So the offensive woes continue, but hopefully brighter skies ahead for the Devils. Zach Werenski, ZW, yeah, scary injury for him last game. At the end of the game, too, really rough stuff. Took a Troy Terry wrist shot off the ankle. He turned his skate to the side. And, yeah, he couldn't even get off the ice. Like, Elvis Merzlikins had to push him to the side. They had to pull him in with like a hockey stick. But yeah, good news is the x-ray was negative. So nothing broken. That's great news. Even if he misses like the next couple games into Christmas break or whatever, like that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, let's get this guy healthy. He's been playing unbelievably this year. Love Zach Werenski. He's such a play driver and he's been great. So yeah, dodged a bullet there, I think. Also in that category, JT Miller of the New York Rangers suffered an upbeat body. I did it accidentally that time. Upbeat body injury in the third period of the Rangers game on Saturday. He's going to miss some time there. He was kind of holding his shoulder. So there was also a picture of him in a sling. So we'll see. I've read too, though, that this isn't really going to affect his Olympic aspirations. So who cares? I don't know. Like we care about Team Canada. We don't care about JT Miller going out there fighting, trying to fight people. What are you doing, you ding dong?
At this point, I kind of hope they do put him on Team USA, right?
Yeah, really. Yeah, get him out there. We need a pylon that can just do skating drills while Miller's out there just doing some twirly moves. That's not true. I like JT Miller, but yeah. So dodged a bullet there. He's not going to miss. He'll miss a couple weeks, so that's fine. Seth Jarvis, however, could be gone for a little bit longer. Really gross looking injury. I don't know if you saw it, Nate, but yeah, he drove hard to the net and just took, hit the net off its moorings, but took the full force right into his ribs. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he broke a rib there, and yeah, that's going to equal some problems for the Carolina Hurricanes. We had Jackson Blake getting moved up to the top line, I believe, and then Ehlers was top power play. Is that what you saw, Nate?
I honestly didn't check the lines on Carolina after that, but I can quickly check. So
What are you
it
doing?
was Taylor Hall, Nikolai Ehlers, Logan Stankoven. So Hall moves into Blake's place, and Blake moves up with Aho and Svechnikov.
Put some stank on it. Oh, yeah. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of that's how we're getting from A to B there. Tough loss, though, losing Seth Jarvis. He's a great category league player, great points league player, too. Jack Eichel remained out for the Vegas Golden Knights here on Sunday. They're getting pummeled by Edmonton 4-1 so far at the time of this recording. I think they might need Jack Eichel back in the lineup to do stuff and some steady goaltending. Damn, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, Carter Hart, Schmid, not really getting the job done at this point, so they might have to address that. Over to Chicago, Frank Nazar, he's going to be out 4 weeks after taking a puck to the face. All right, he got it right in the face bone. So, yeah, I don't know. With him and Bedard out, like who is going to provide offense there in Chicago? Is it going to be Donato season?
I mean, maybe they got to figure out who's going to center these top two lines is the biggest thing. Like, it's hard enough to replace players who are at the top of your lineup. It's doubly hard if they're both centers. So it's just really bearish. I'm also a bit worried about Spencer Knight now, where I have him. I just think it's going to be really tough for the Chicago team to beat people consistently with those top two centers out.
Yeah. For sure, Spencer Knight, like he's been catching bullets in his teeth already, and now he's going to be asked to do even more. So just keep an eye on it. I think that's a guy, yeah, you could potentially drop if things start going south there, but he's been great so far this year. Speaking of goalies, speaking of segues, Dan Vladar, Christian Dvorak is not a goalie, but yeah, Vladar and Dvorak hopefully back on Monday for the Flyers, but not guaranteed yet. Vladar has been absolutely viable this year. So I think that's a goalie you need to potentially have on your roster. Buddy, you see Pavel Dorofeyev just scored?
I didn't.
Dorofeyev assisted by the Thomas Hurdle.
Oh,
Turtle.
it's good for you.
Okay, buddy. That first place in Fantasy Puck might not be yours yet. Okay. All right. I'm just putting that out there, but I'm happy for you. I think you're getting some good stuff there with the Dorofiev goal. This is how Nate and I get the biz on a Sunday when we have close matchups. We don't care. We only care about our fantasy teams, truly, folks. You're just along for the ride. All right. I'm sorry to say. Mason Marchment got traded. When Nate was recording on Friday, but yeah, he obviously didn't talk about it. Very selfish and negligent. So I don't know what was going on there. He got a nice goal the other night. I think he's going to fit in well in the top 6 there. I'd love to see Mason Marchment on a top power play somewhere. I think that he has the yams to do something out there for fantasy. I don't think it's going to happen here in Columbus, but don't make that face, Nathan. All right. Yeah, he's making a face, folks, and I don't like it. All right. I have to look at that. I mean, it's beautiful, but I'm not sure I like the expression. Anyways, Marchment, I think, is a potential option for you for fantasy. Did have a nice goal there the other night, playing on the top line with Fantilli and KJ, Kent Johnson, the resurgent Kent Johnson, driving play like a hot damn out there. I didn't see his time on ice, but that's really the biggest factor with Kent Johnson. So I don't know. And then lastly, Philip Deneau got traded back to the Montreal Canadiens. Could definitely use a 2C, 3C, any C, right? We feel good about that. They need some help up front. They lost to the Penguins. God, I really needed that win. And again, I only care about myself, but definitely should help the team overall. Give them a great two-way center down the middle to play behind Nick Suzuki, that legend. And that's it for the Newsies, Nate. Let's move on to the next segment. And we're talking Christmas songs, folks, are we? That's what we do. When you have a fantasy hockey podcast, you talk about your top 3 Christmas songs.
Yeah, last year we did top 3 Christmas movies, and so I figured this year we'd do songs. So this probably changes for me. I don't think I have like a set top 3 necessarily, but I wanted to shout out All I Want for Christmas. I think is a pretty good song overall, but obviously the Mariah one is incredibly overplayed and no one would ever choose it as one of their top 3 songs. But there's a version by an artist named Luce, and you should all go check it out. Luce is one of my favorite artists that nobody's ever heard of, and I just wanted to shout her out on this podcast, so that's what I'm doing here. And then number 2, I have Angels We Have Heard on High. Josh Groban did a duet version with a guy named Brian McKnight, and it's pretty terrific.
Josh Groban, give us a little bit of that.
Yeah, you think I'm gonna sing for you right
now? Well, no, it did. Josh Groban, he sang that song. You raise me up.
I did do that one.
I'm kind of adding a bit of grit to it. I don't think you need to do that, but yeah, Josh Groban's. It's a hard listen, man. I don't know if I'm here with this. Brian McKnight, however, legend. Oh my God. Do you ever listen to Brian McKnight? Like, some of his old songs. I think we talked about this, but like Back at One. You know that song, Back at One?
Is this another one of your 60s references?
Buddy, you're referencing Brian McKnight in the pod. I'm trying to help you out. Back at One, amazing song. Folks, I'll let you get back to it here, Nathaniel, but One Last Cry, that's a Brian McKnight song. I sang at karaoke one time, not well. So definitely go check out Brian McKnight, One Last Cry, and then picture me singing that song and, being booed off stage roundly and, just reevaluating my life.
Sounds like something we should all do in our spare time this week. My third one, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Michael Bublé, this is a great one. You just throw it on with the kids when you got that like first Saturday in December kind of feel, especially if the snow's coming down. Just a great feel good, feel cozy kind of song. So that's what I'm going with. Blake, what do you got?
Yep, good stuff, buddy. I mean, I'm all about the boobs. All right, Michael Boobie, he's great. Awesome Christmas thing. I love those Christmas memes. They're cliche, but they're funny. Like Michael Bublé is being thought out this Christmas season. You're like, yeah, I'm here for that. Like this guy's elite. He's an elite Christmas, guy. I lost it. You know what else is elite? This isn't in my top 3, but I was just listening to this the other day. Dolly Parton Christmas songs. Hell yeah. Dolly Parton. She's not hard to look at either. Right, Nate? You know what I'm talking about?
I'm aware of who Dolly Parton is, yes.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, anyways, she's got some great Christmas tunes with Kenny Rogers. It's good, clean fun. Check that out. I'm going to talk to you about my top 3 Christmas songs here. We got All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey. All right, the original, Nathan. You're trying to galaxy brain something out here when you got the original right in front of you. All right, and it's clearly elite. So, I mean, hit me up in the comments at me. I want to hear your top 3 Christmas songs. All right, because I should say Christmas songs in general, they can, like, do you ever have Christmas songs on when you've got the kids in the car and it starts to feel like you're living in a circus? You know what I mean? Like the sheer intensity of some of these songs, like it's the most wonderful time. There's like all this crazy bells and like the kids are screaming in the back seat, and you basically just want to drive into a fire hydrant. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
Nope, just you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm a strange guy. All right. All I Want for Christmas, Mariah Carey. Last Christmas by Wham.
Great
All right.
choice.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Love that. Love the video. And I've got my kids kind of, conditioned. So when I say, hey, who sings this song? They'll be like, Wham. But they say it like that. Say, hey, this is a really good song. Who sings it? Wham. So yeah, that's an elite name as well. And then I threw in Carol of the Bells from the Home Alone soundtrack. That's John Williams. That's just an elite track. But some dingus at my office the other day started singing it, but the version from Family Guy. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where he goes, ding, fries are done, ding, fries are done, ding, fries. And then I just had it in my head the whole night. And then again, I was picturing driving into a fire hydrant. You know what I mean? So
wow. Does this happen a lot for you, Blake? Should we schedule some time for you?
Well, anytime I get to be with you, buddy, that's definitely my therapy. So I feel good about that. Those are my top 3. Hit us up in the comments. Let us know maybe you're just top 1. Is there any elite Christmas songs out there that you want us to know about?
All right, definitely do that. While you do that, we'll get into the naughty list. We're going to start with the naughty players.
Oh, yeah.
The players who have been just major disappointments for the purposes of fantasy hockey so far this year. For myself, I'm going personal on the first one. I had a little bit of a rant about Nico Hischier about this time last week and how little he was doing for my team. Nico Hischier is on a 23-goal, 66-point pace on the season, which is unbelievably unacceptable given his stature and given where I drafted him in multiple locations in my fantasy leagues, directly contributing to that APL team that is not performing as expected. He only has 2 assists in his last 5 games prior to today. I don't believe he assisted on that huge goal, so I think that's another 0 for Mr. Hischier. His underlying numbers actually do look pretty good over the last little bit. So
that's nice.
That's great. I'm super happy for you, Nico. I'm super glad that your underlying numbers are not terrible the way you are. And his teammate Jesper Bratt, I think we got to acknowledge that Bratt has not been as advertised. He's on a 14-goal pace on the season.
Rough stuff.
What is going on there? His underlying numbers, he's 4th in on-ice scoring chances, 4 per 60, 21st in on-ice expected goals, 4 per 60 on the season. He's only shooting 7.9%, so I do think this equalizes. But, I thought that Bratt could take another step into just being, a consistent, almost Nylander-esque type player. But it really kind of seems like he needs people to score around him, and he's not able to consistently be a goal-scoring threat himself at this point. He never was a big-time 40-goal scorer. That was never really part of his bag. But I feel like the best players, when they don't have access to those line mates who can finish those chances, they don't just keep sending these passes to bad players and expecting different results. They figure it out themselves. We talked about Quinn Hughes trying to do that, maybe a little too much even in Vancouver, but Jesper Bratt has seemingly not been able to evolve his game in the face of some adversity this year, and that's just a point that I want to make about him on the year, even though I still do think the player is pretty good, pretty terrific overall. I think he was drafted appropriately for expectation this year. Obviously, this season hasn't gone as intended for the Devils. There's a lot of reasons you could say for that, but Jesper Bratt not being able to adapt, I think, is one of them. Nikolai Euler's number 3 on the list here, although with this Jarvis injury, top power play could be back in the cards here, was on the last game, so maybe some signs of future excellence ahead for Ehlers, we could hope. His underlying numbers still look great, but it's the 16.5 minutes that's going to really keep him down. 19 goal, 56 point pace. Safe to say that Ehlers is not living up to expectations so far in Carolina. And now you've got the RBA effect in full force. I think it's probably going to take like 3 more injuries for Ehlers to ever get like 18, 19-minute
Yeah.
treatment. So I just don't see it in the future anymore. I was hopeful about it, but it seems further and further away from reality as we proceed into the season. Still think the player's terrific. Yeah, just kind of where I'm at. Any of those you want to add to, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, they're all good players. I'm glad you mentioned the underlying metrics there with Heischer, because yeah, he's still good out there. He's doing his best. I think it's a coaching issue there, or not an issue, but like Sheldon Keefe is much different than Lindy Ruff was there when guys like Bratt and Hughes were they were literally the top 1 and 2 rush players in the league. And I think, yeah, Sheldon Keefe has them playing on the other side of the puck a lot more. And I think that's taken some of the juice away from Jesper Bratt. And, whereas maybe before under different coaching, he could have been that guy, but under Keefe, I think, yeah, he's kind of a passenger and needs, like, he's obviously not a good shooter, a very efficient shooter. So yeah, he needs a guy like Jack Hughes in there, kind of getting to biz. And you got a bunch of underachievers on that team anyway. So I like those players. Ehlers as well. Reminds me of Natchez in Carolina before he got traded, right? Like, again, massive play driver, finding it hard to get out there for minutes required to, capitalize on his skill. But again, Ehlers goes to Colorado. Now we're looking at 90 points, right? Like it's that kind of player. But it's just, yeah, very frustrating stuff. Very naughty. That's naughty. Ooh, oh, silly little naughty boys. I don't know where I'm going with that. All right, let's just move on. Yeah, I'll talk about my naughty players. All right, these very naughty. JT Miller as my number 1. Actually, these are in no particular order, but yeah, I've got JT Miller out here. I just think, yeah, like things looked really good when he moved from Vancouver to New York. It looked like it was going to be a really nice fit. Then he was made captain, and now I feel like we're looking at the same player that we had in Vancouver here last year. Like a guy, he's listless out there. And we've all seen some of the body language stuff that JT Miller does. Really frustrating, but like his metrics, oh my God. It's been pretty rough. That said, his individual expected goals per 60 on the season, pretty good. But, everything else, shots, scoring chances, not great, right? Even the on-ice numbers are not awesome. He's on a 52-point pace, folks. This is a guy who got, I think he got 99 points. So, yeah, this is a player that you probably drafted in the 3rd round here, thinking like this was going to be a really good player for you because of New York's playoff schedule and that. And it just hasn't come to fruition. And even when the Rangers are getting, some goals, it seems like Miller's not in on them. Right. So I don't know. It's been a really frustrating year. It's hard to put my finger on what's going on there. But again, Miller is not a player that generates his own shots or chances, really. So if he's not being efficient, we're looking at a lot of like scoreless games for him. And I think it could continue. I don't see how it's not going to moving forward. It's just he hasn't really been able to break through. And I'm not sure what's going on there in New York, to be honest. I feel like kind of they're missing something. I don't know where you have New York and Miller there, Nate.
It is pretty hard to figure out what's going on in New York. 2 different coaches now, pretty good sample size on the season. It just still seems kind of broken somehow. Yeah, I think they've got the horses in the right places. Mm-hmm. That top 6 looks as good as most around the league, I'd say. Yeah, it is a bit of a puzzle to figure out why they can't pull it all together and who needs to drag them into the fight. You would think JT Miller could be the guy to drag them into the fight every night, but he's kind of been the opposite of that, and that is probably a big part of why it's not working right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a him thing to figure out. I don't know if there's some injury going on or what the case has been to this point in the season. Obviously, we talked about the injury just sustained. That's not going to help matters.
Yep.
But yeah, I am pretty puzzled by what the Rangers season has been to date, JT Miller included.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Really frustrating player. Another one locked in here, Austin Matthews. Sheesh. And I know you feel this one, buddy. This is a guy that we were touting as like a top 5 asset, definitely a top 7, top 8 asset in fantasy in almost every format, really. I think it's safe to say. And yeah, it like we're seeing the Leafs sort of implode here at this point of the season. We know like every post-game press conference is really a rough watch with Craig Berube. You and I were talking about it. A guy like Austin Matthews not taking really accountability for what the hell's going on there on the team, and then not getting the job done out there on the ice. He's getting a ton of minutes, his full complement of minutes, 21 minutes average time on ice. He's pacing for 65 points. That's inexplicable. That's crazy. I mean, his metrics are decent, right? I think a little bit muted from what he normally does, but on the year, he's 12th overall in shots on goal per 60, 9th overall in individual scoring chances per 60, 18th overall in individual expected goals per 60. So, he's getting there. He's getting to the spots, but the efficiency is way off. The power play has been just unbelievable with that group on the power play. It doesn't make a bit of sense that they can't get the job done. What are you seeing over there in Toronto that maybe could either unlock Austin Matthews, or do you think that this is kind of the player he is now? Maybe he's just got too many injuries in the bag and he's never going to be at 100% again.
Yeah, I think he's a shell of his former self. I think anybody watching him can see that he doesn't look anything like the Austin Matthews who is scoring almost 70 goals a year on the regular. Maybe it is just the injuries have already accumulated on his body and he physically can't do what he used to. That's definitely a real possibility at this point. It's also a real possibility that this team has just completely given up on Craig Berube. He appears to have completely given up on them, so that's a pretty fun dynamic to have
Rough
in
look.
a team. The Leafs, actually, I watched a decent chunk of the game here tonight. It was probably one of their better efforts they've had in the past month, and they got absolutely smacked 5-1 by Dallas for their efforts. So, yeah, that's about how the season has gone for the Leafs so far. And Matthews just hasn't been good enough. His underlying numbers on the year still look pretty good in terms of generating some offense, but his conversion has really taken a hit. And I think that's on him. He's got to wear that, and he's got to figure it out. And if he can't, I think that part of that is on him. Part of that is on Berube. I talked on this podcast about how I felt like Berube just doesn't have a counterpunch. He doesn't have a plan B. If his plan A doesn't work, then he throws up his hands and points a finger at the players and says it's them. He's not wrong. It is them, but it's also him. He's got to have something more than just the initial thought of what he wants to do.
Yeah.
When half your defense core is injured, you can't just say, oh, the players suck. Yeah, of course they suck, but there's other teams. Look what Tampa did with all their defensemen out. In comes Darren Radish, and suddenly he's the best defenseman in the league for 2 weeks. Why can't we have that? You can say we don't have that player, but also we don't have John Cooper, and I think that's a bigger portion of the problem there. So I said at the beginning of the year I thought that Craig Berube was a bigger problem for Austin Matthews than Mitch Marner leaving, and I still think that's the case, and we're seeing the effects of it here in a big way. Obviously, Mitch Marner leaving not going to help Austin Matthews. Nobody thought that. But, yeah, it's a combination of both, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it's really good analysis, man. I always like to talk to people who are watching the team as well as look at the underlying analytics. And yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So Austin Matthews been pretty frustrating. I'm not sure if you had to say what his point pace might be rest of season, what would you say, Nate?
Are we assuming Berube gets canned? Or are we
I think we
Berube
have to at this
around?
point. I mean, it's going to be like a Vancouver situation where the media is just going to spin it to a point where it's easier to just get rid of this guy and like bring someone fresh in so they can quiet that noise. So I don't know. Either way, what do you think?
Yeah, if Berube sticks around, I think Matthews is probably a 70, 75 point player. If Berube gets canned, I think he's 85, 90.
I hate to hear this. My God, this guy's a shell. He should be in the 110 point range with 60 to 65 goals. I don't know. Hopefully it happens again because this guy's a legend. Anyways, my last player, Jordan Kyrou. This is more of an issue with his deployment than it is with the player itself, because, I was talking with Louis Boulet a couple weeks ago when I had him on. We talked about Jordan Kyrou and just everything he brings to the table. It's kind of a Nikolai Ehlers situation.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You got an amazing play driver. You got a clearly offensive player, a talented, zone entry guy, sets up his teammates. Like, he expected goals out the wazoo, right? This guy's excellent, but he just can't get off the schneid there in St. Louis, averaging 16 minutes, average time on ice, 47-point pace. Metrics are good, right? 43rd in shots goal per 60, 36th in individual scoring chances for per 60, 47th in expected goals per 60. He's doing stuff out there, right? It's just, he's not getting the deployment, and it's really frustrating. Like, it's pissing me off. His main line mates this year, Dylan Holloway and Braden Shen, Come on. You got an elite facilitator in Robert Thomas. I'm not crazy. Oh, buddy. You know what'd be so nice is if we heard a Robert Thomas Christmas album. Does that exist? Does anybody out there know if Rob Thomas ever sang a Christmas song? If he did, hit us up in the comments, all right? Because I need to listen to that, all right? But anyways, back to this. Yeah, get Jordan Kyrou out with Robert Thomas. This makes no sense. You got one of your best finishers and play drivers, and then you got an elite facilitator in Robert Thomas, who's pretty damn good defensively as well. I don't get it. I don't know what what they're doing there in St. Louis, but it's really pissing me off. So I don't know. I don't have too much more on Kyrou other than, and he's injured right now. So, I think that he's a great stash. If you can stash him to your IR, get Jordan Kyrou out there. This is a player that with the right opportunity can absolutely smash for fantasy. I don't know. Tell me I'm wrong, Nate.
No, I can't tell you you're wrong. I like Kyrie the player. It does seem like this has been multiple coaches that have found him borderline unplayable at times, and so that does worry me that it's just something about the guy, whether he's got a punchable face or whatever it is, that
I think so. Yeah.
they just don't want him out there. I mean, if the Blues hang around and start to fall back in this wild card race in the West, which is definitely not not something that is
Canucks have a chance. This is amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams hanging around right where the Blues are. So if the Blues don't pick up the pace, they will get left behind by at least one, probably multiple of these teams. And so if that happens, then Kyrou could be first out in potential trades. So that's something to watch for as well. I think he would probably thrive wherever he went.
Absolutely, buddy.
All right, let's move on to the nice list. We got to get this going. Nice list for me. Gotta talk about Trevor Zegras here. In all my wildest dreams about Trevor Zegras, I did not have him just instantly becoming a Rick Tocchet favorite. Like, I thought like Matvei Michkov, like the organizational gravity around him. Danny Briere made a big point out of making him like a foundational piece for the Flyers and the rebuild and everything they were doing. And then this year, Rick Tocchet comes in. He's like, no, screw that guy. Trevor Zegras is my dude. And Zegras is like, all right, I'm going to score at a 36-goal, 84-point pace, and I'm going to look incredible doing it. The last 5 games, 4 goals, 7 points, over 20 minutes average time on ice. Like, he's getting better. And honestly, at this point, I'm starting not to doubt it as much as I was earlier on at the season. Like, yeah, he's shooting almost 19%, 14.2% on ice shooting percentage, 76% IPP. I think he can hold, to be quite honest with you. So, like, yeah, maybe he's reverts more back towards the 75-ish point pace, but I don't think we're that far off point per game Trevor Zegras for the year, especially if he's getting 20 minutes a night.
It's awesome, buddy. We had him as a sleeper, and I would be lying if I said I thought he'd be at an 84-point pace. I thought maybe like a 70-point Zegras. That's an amazing sleeper. Like, I picked this guy up at pick 200 in one spot, and now look at him. So it's amazing stuff. Did you see that video of there was something like it was Michkov and Rick Tocchet talking on the bench, but Michkov was pissed. He's basically like throwing his hands up, like basically indicating like, what do you want me to do? Like, what is this? And Tocchet was like trying to calm him down. And like, there's some tension there between Tocchet and Michkov. So that's a little bit concerning, but the Trevor Zegras stuff, I remember reading early on in the season, this guy was going to Rick Tocchet, like, what can I do? Tell me what I need to do. He was being really proactive in his approach to this new team. And I think Tocchet really liked that. And I think, Trevor Zegras also picked up his play in the defensive end. And it's been a really great story. And I think they got a really good line here. They got him with Travis Konechny and Christian Dvorak, and that line is getting to biz as of late. So I'm happy to see it. I love Trevor Zegras, the player, his talent. And this could be a career high season for him.
Totally agree. My next player, Rasmus Andersson, 4 assists in his last 5, over 23 minutes a night. He's got 6th in amongst all defensemen in shots per 60 in the last 5, 12th in individual expected goals for per 60 on the season, 16 goal, 57-point pace.
Let's go.
I kept like waiting for Rasmus Andersson to fall off, but basically he's just like full on leveled up, and it's pretty impressive to see. I mean, I'm starting to wonder if he is going to get moved by the Flames. Like, if there is more talk between Anderson and the Flames that he wants to stay. Like, otherwise, I feel like there would be more out there about Anderson. Like, for all the names that have come out, like the Quinn Hughes one came out and everybody was huge on that. The way that the Flames season has gone, it's just been surprising to me that there hasn't been more focus on Rasmus Anderson as the trade target. Maybe it's just that the Flames price is too high, but at some point you kind of feel like they'll have to make a decision one way or another, especially if they're not going to be in a playoff race come the end of the season. Again, they're right there with St. Louis in that range, so they could go either way still at this point. But yeah, all his underlying numbers have come up in a big way this year. Probably is a little unsustainable this high, but not by that much, honestly. He is legitimately taking a step kind of late in his career to do so, and it's just pretty fun to watch at this point.
Yeah. And the good thing is too, like he's not that old. Like he's only 29. So, and his ice time is up from last year as well. That is unexpected, right? Like we all heard the rumblings in the offseason that he's going to get moved, this and that. Well, yeah, they basically just gave him the keys at this point. And yeah, he's really running with it. I love to see it because I picked him up in 2 spots, kind of as a schedule play. And then I just ended up holding because he hasn't stopped. Like it's been unbelievable, and he just looks dialed in as well out there. Like, it would surprise me. I mean, it makes sense, I think, for the organization to move on, like if they want to get some, get younger or whatever. But this is the type of defenseman you want, right? Like this guy's crushing out there. I've heard some rumors of him going to the Leafs. Do you think like what would Rasmus Anderson to the Leafs look like? Is that something that would excite you at all?
I would hate it because there's what do we have to offer that doesn't make this team worse in the long run? Like we gotta stop with dealing picks in the future and all this because this team doesn't deserve that at this point. So I don't know what that would look like unless we could somehow convince them that Morgan Riley is still an asset worth having. I don't really see
It's
how
a one
this
for
works
one.
out. Yeah, yeah, the deal is 1 for 1.
I don't think that's happening. Okay.
My next guy, Brad Marchand, unbelievable year.
Yeah.
Last 5 games, too, 4 goals, 9 points, almost 19 minutes a night for this Panthers team that needed him this year. Stepped up again. Just an absolute beauty at whatever he is. 30,000 years old, 48 goal, 96 point pace on the season for Brad Marchand. Just an absolutely insane year for him. Yeah, he's running pretty hot. This is definitely going to calm down a bit here. When Matthew Tkachuk comes back, do they start to, even the ice time out a little bit? Does he come off the top power play at some points? That's all in question, but the way he's playing, I kind of don't think so. So, yeah, Brad Marchand definitely on the nice list.
Absolutely, buddy. It's nice to see. Like, I don't know why, but I like this guy as he's gotten older. Obviously, we hated him for years and years, but I've seen him play for Canada enough now where I'm like, yeah, this guy's awesome. And that's just an embarrassment of riches they have over there in Florida. Like, you got Barkov and Kachuk out. Well, Brad Marchand step up to like kind of a first line kind of offensive role. And yeah, he's really getting to biz. 96-point pace. You love to see it. Sure, he's running hot, but when those guys come back, he can go back to that third line role that he was super effective in that helped them win a Stanley Cup. Why him? Why him and not us, Nathan? I don't understand. I mean, geez. He seems to clearly have a lot of love for the Leafs. Yeah, he's constantly defending them in the media. That's nice, isn't it?
So nice. So nice that Brad Marchand cares so much about everybody else. Do you see him trolling people on Instagram too? Like he
Yes.
loves to get in the
No,
comments on Instagram.
he's tweaked, man. His
Yeah.
brain doesn't work like the rest of ours.
I love it. Over to you, Blake. Who's on your nice list?
All right, let's take a look. At number 1, I got Jacob Chikrin here, an Apples and Ginos favorite we've had for years here. And I remember when he went to Washington, we both of us were kind of pissed. We're like, damn it. Like he's behind John Carlson in the pecking order here. And it kind of was that way for the first half of that season. But he was able to sort of get his or make his way onto the top power play. They were running a 2 defenseman power play there. And I mean, this year has been even crazier, right? Like I think he's leading the league in defenseman goals at this point. Like what the hell? He's got 3 in his last game, but like his metrics are off the chain. This guy's he's on a 66-point pace, 14 goals, 14 assists. He's number 1 amongst defensemen in shots to go over 60. He's number 1 in individual scoring chances 4/60. He's number 1 in individual expected goals per 60, and his on ice numbers are really good too. So I just think this is a player that you probably got at like pretty damn nice value, like probably after pick 100. And it's just been an amazing season. I think you and I knew that Jacob Chikrin had a season like this in his bag, but we needed that deployment to do it. And he's really getting that look here in Washington. And it's not on the power play. Like he has 4 power play goals, but only 6 power play points. He's getting it done at even strength, right? He's just having a monster season. And I'm such a big fan of this player. And I think he's really landed in a good spot here in Washington if he can stay healthy.
Yep, not too much to add there. Love Chikrin. Feels like a similar player to Zach Werenski, where we kept saying, like, it's all there. He's going to have a bust out. You just got to find out when it's going to be. You want to be in on guys like that. And this is the year it looks like at this point.
Yep, absolutely. Sticking with the Washington Capitals, I want to shout out Tom Wilson. He was actually a lot better before the last little bit here. Wilson's been kind of cold, 2 assists in the last 5 games. I think that might even go further back than that. But, prior to that, he was really popping off and kind of one of the main play drivers and scorers on this Washington Capitals team. And I think that, again, this is another guy you probably got at a pretty decent value. I know you and I had him ranked a little higher, right? Because I think we projected him for a decent season offensively, but also the periffs are really one of the main things that you love about Tom Wilson. But he's been getting to business here, 77-point pace. You'd love to see it. And I have him in a bunch of spots because of the value you were able to get on Tom Wilson in draft season. Plus, do you know a more handsome man in the NHL? I don't know. I mean, damn, like maybe Boone Jenner. Hit Boone Jenner or Tom Wilson. Who wins in a smoldering contest? You know what I'm saying, Nate?
I would still have to go with Tom Wilson, to be honest.
Okay,
I don't think there's a more handsome man out there.
Okay, all right, that's fair. What do you think about Tom Wilson's season so far? Do you think it's sustainable, this 77-point pace?
It's probably not. Like, he's run pretty hot to get over here, over 20% shooting percentage. The IPP is higher than it's ever been, so those 2 things probably do come down. But yeah, I think he can be, like, he's in a new role on this team, and that role is, 19, 20 minutes a night. And that role is power play 1. And that role is, we need you to score this goal for us. And he's been doing it. He's been converting. And I think he can be, maybe not the 40-plus goal scorer, but I think he can live in that 30 to 35 range. I think he can live in the 65 to 70-point range in this kind of new version of himself where he's getting the minutes and getting the deployment. So I got a lot of love for Tom Wilson for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. He's driving play pretty damn well out there too. So I like me some Tom Wilson. I think that he's kind of due for he's a little bit of a buy low in my opinion, like just in terms of what he's been doing out there. So I don't know. I feel good about that. All right. And last player I want to talk about, Apples and Ginos' favorite, Troy Terry. It's been great. I mean, we've talked enough about Troy Terry. We don't have to go too into the weeds here, but he's obviously, to me, he's one of the best rush players in the league. And now he's got an amazing center to play with in Leo Carlson. And Leo Carlson's obviously having an amazing year. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But Troy Terry has been as advertised, I think, for us here, Nate. The underlyings for him, pretty damn nice as well, I think. I mean, better than expected for Troy Terry. Like, it's a guy that isn't really a big shooter, but he's 106 overall in shots to goal per 60 this year. I think that's pretty good. Chucking pucks pretty well. Expected goals are decent, but the on ice numbers have been pretty good here throughout the season because of his line that he's been playing on and that offensive wagon that Anaheim's kind of turned into this year. So I'm just excited about Troy Terry. I think, you had a big projection for him. And I think, what is he pacing for? I'm just looking here. He's pacing for 80. He could beat Nate's projection, which I think was, the consensus might have been high. Like, I had him, I think, for 68 or something like that, 65. You had him for 72, I think. And he's pacing for 80. So I don't know, man. Take a victory lap. Like, what do you see out there with Troy Terry?
Yeah, I think it's definitely gone better than anybody thought in Anaheim. But yeah, I did see, we talked about this ad nauseum in the early going, is some of the biggest changes for fantasy come when these new coaches come to situations where it's been a bad coaching situation before. It's been a bad environment for offense before. A new coach comes in, and there is talent kicking around here. There are some guys who could get set loose and could have that year, that breakout year, that next step year, even under a new coach who finds the right thing to say or finds the right system to put their guys in. And that happened in spades for the Ducks this year. They're kind of going through the second phase of that now, where the early phase it's all fun, and now the second phase is okay. Now everybody's
Yeah,
figured out
it's
your
settling.
main strength, and you got to figure out what your counterpunch, I guess, is the right word to use. Again, I think they'll figure it out though. Like I think Quenville can figure it out with them. I think he's also trying to get them to play some defense
Yeah,
now
yeah.
a little
Back it
bit.
down, boys. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's that as well. But yeah, I do think that Troy Terry can produce close to this point per game pace in the current situation he's in. Like it's only a 65% IPP. He's historically been much higher than that. He doesn't have to be on this line anymore, but he's getting more minutes. He's getting penalty kill time. He's only shooting 11.4%. I think he could shoot higher than that. He could score more goals. He could finish with 30 on the year, and it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I still think the world of Troy Terry. All right, let's keep it rocking. Let's talk about stocking stuffers. These are not the main event, you know. These are maybe players you're a little bit ambivalent about. You threw them on your team, and you said, "Let's see what we got here." But they've turned into a hold, and so for me, that's going to be Elias Lindholm. I added him in a spot. Didn't really expect too much of it, and then basically ever since he came back from that injury, he's been over a point per game player for Boston,
Yeah.
which is kind of ridiculous to say. Don't think many people thought that was coming for Elias Lindholm this year in this iteration of the Bruins, myself included. But that's where it's come to. And yeah, in all those games since he came back from injury, only one of those has been a goal. So it'd be nice for him to actually, shoot the puck and score the goals himself. But if you're getting an assist every single game from a player and you knew that going into the game, you'd still be pretty happy with that pickup. So Elias Lindholm going to be the guy for me who I personally picked up and has been returning some dividends, and I'm not thinking about dropping him anytime soon. How about you, Blake?
Yeah, absolutely. My pick is the Pinto Bean, Shane Pinto. Obviously, he's injured right now, so I'm talking about kind of just. It's one of those guys that I picked up again off waivers, and I just couldn't drop him because of his level of play, right? And he's doing it with little to no power play time, right? Which is really interesting. And I should mention he's at a 55-point pace when he was out there, so it's not like he's not even to the level of Elias Lindholm, right? Who's I think on a 70-point pace and on the top line in Boston. Shane Pinto is kind of running top six, middle six sort of stuff there. His main line mates were Claude Giroux and Michael. It's me, Mario. So it's just a guy that I think was surprising, right? It was a consistent player out there. I wanted to keep dropping him, and I just couldn't because he kept putting some goals on the board. He is running pretty hot, but I think this is a guy that is very valuable to his team. His metrics have come back up after a down year last year. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him when he does get healthy again here, but he was running hot. I still like the player. I think it's a rosterable player. And if he does get any kind of deployment, like any offensive type deployment, I think this is a guy that can absolutely pop for fantasy, maybe to a 60 to 65-point pace.
Yep. I have to concur with that. Love Shane Pinto. Love what he brings to the table. Just the fact that he's going to be loved by every coach, basically, for what he brings to the table. And I think there's still more untapped offense in there. I know they don't really need it. They got him behind Stützle at the very least, and sometimes down as 3C as well. But I definitely think that Shane Pinto has a lot of potential, given the right circumstances, to have a big-time pop-off year. So, love that call. Let's move over to Under the Tree. So this one came in from Discord. If you were to redraft at Christmas time, what present player would you hope lands under your tree that you didn't remotely consider asking for Christmas prior to the season's start? So that's a fun question. For myself, I want to take this opportunity to do a mea culpa on Matthew Schaefer. I just really, in retrospect, I don't really know why I didn't give it a lot of credence. I thought that a guy who hadn't played that many games last year in the OHL just wouldn't jump straight to the NHL and dominate. I
Yep.
just didn't see that coming. I thought, like, even if he has a good little start here, they'll probably take the long path with them. The Islanders are not going to be a big time contender this year, and they'll probably take the long approach here. And I just kind of like got that set in my mind, and so I just like never really gave Matthew Schaefer the time of day. Um, that's not exactly true, but in terms of my fantasy teams, it's true because I didn't get him anywhere. And so that's on me. I think that when you get a number one overall pick, like clearly the team sees something in him, right? They took him over everybody else there. And you just got to be open to that. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to take away from myself is like why I talk about this all the time is being open to opportunities. And like the opportunity was pretty clear there for Matthew Schaefer. If he is a true number one dominant player, then he was gonna run with it. Like the Islanders were gonna be ecstatic if that was the case. And so what was I scared of? I'm not too sure. So that's a mea culpa on my part. I should have been more open to that with Matthew Schaefer.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is one of those ones. I don't know if I would have. I agree with you that I wish he was under my tree, but I feel like the risk reward on Matthew Schaefer, there wasn't enough information, right? And we're in the business of like trying to give you all the edges, right? And I wouldn't have felt good being like, get Matthew Schaefer in your lineup. We had no clue he was even going to play on the team, let alone like take over power play one, let alone change the entire dynamic of the team with his play driving ability. Like this guy is elite. He's going to be a Cale Makar. Well, maybe not a Cale Makar, but he's going to be in that vicinity, like a Zach Werenski, like one of these guys that really drives play. He's changed their whole outlook there. And I also think that the Islanders still have, even though it's not haven't been true for a long time, they still have this stigma that they're this defensive team. They don't score any goals, right? And yeah, so it's like, oh, okay, power play one on a team that doesn't score any goals. Yeah, like who's a rookie, but you know, he's pretty damn good. This guy. I also think we got on him. We got on him early enough. I remember doing a pod early on, being like, go get Matthew Schaefer. Like, I think this is real. Like, get in here. And like, yeah, hopefully you did get some Matthew Schaefer on your team. I didn't. I tried to trade for him in a bunch of spots. Didn't happen. So anyways, good player. Good take there, Nate. My guy who I would redraft if I could, Leo Carlson. You know, I just love the opportunity he's got, the way he's been able to sort of be the guy that Joel Quenneville goes to in big moments. I think he's the clear 1C on this team, and he's really been showing that. This guy is on a 93-point pace, and he's fallen off a little bit. Like he was really going buck wild for a little bit, you know, and this is one of those players where the metrics don't, the underlying metrics, especially the individual metrics, don't really match the talent of the player. Right? Like a guy like Mikko Rantanen or like you know, there are these type of players that they just sort of transcend the metrics. And you can really see that in Leo Carlson's play this year. And obviously being able to play with a guy like Troy Terry, really strong stuff. And Chris Kreider, we talked about this in the offseason, like how that line could, like, I think that's the line we sort of talked about, like Leo Carlson or Mason McTavish with Chris Kreider, like how that might work together because of the, you know, the good facilitation and obviously the good finishing of Chris Kreider. And it's been a really nice mix there with Leo Carlson. So yeah, I wish I could get on that. I mean, this guy's, you know, he's one of the league leaders out there. He's looking really, really good. And yeah, I didn't get him in any spots, and I wasn't interested in him in any spots because of the uncertainty. And I think that's something that is common between Carlson and Schaefer.
All right, next up, best gift ever. This is basically a player from late in drafts or waivers who's been a huge star. For me, it's obvious. It's Cutter Gauthier. Been talking about this guy since last year.
Yep.
Been saying wait till Cronin leaves and then buy this guy. I spent up to get him in Kakupful. I knew that I was being intentionally bid up and I didn't care. I went and got my
You went
guy.
for it. Love it.
And I've been reaping the benefits of Cutter Gauthier's terrific season. So not much to say here. Just Cutter Gauthier is the best player in the NHL. I think we all know this at this point.
Oh my God. I don't hate it. All right. Definitely the best name. One of the best. Yeah, love Cutter Gauthier. Great pick there. And I'm glad you were on him so early because I think it's just a good look. I picked Miro Heiskanen, who I will talk about in a second, but I do want to shout out Josh Norris as well. Norris has been awesome, right? That's a guy. I can't say he's the best gift ever because he literally played like half a game and then was out of business for like whatever it was. So that kind of stinks, right? But I do love Josh Norris. But my pick is Miro Heiskanen. Guy has been again, like Harley was the hot pick in draft season because of his play at the Four Nations, his play in the playoffs. He was getting power play one. I think we thought that he was the heir apparent to that power play, which we thought was going to be really good. And Dallas's power play is really good. It's incredible so far this year. The guy like Wyatt Johnson popping off. They're second overall in power play conversion, but it's Heiske. Heiske is the guy who's on the back end there. So yeah, 73-point pace, 13 power play points already. I just love the value I got on him. I think I got him at 120 in a couple spots. I've got him on 3 teams and I'm loving life. Did you get Heiske anywhere, Nate?
No, I didn't end up with him anywhere. Did like the player, just didn't grab him, I guess, in the right spots. Always went around too early or something, but yeah. Love the player for sure. And yeah, you can go back. There are definitely recordings of me saying I'm not sure that this is Harley. Like, I think the nuclear season for Harley was really exciting, and I did take Harley in one spot. But yeah, obviously, in retrospect, should have been hedging my shares with some Heiskanen as well. Let's move over to Ugliest Christmas Tree player rostered in a lot of leagues, but nobody really knows why. For me, that's going to be Noah Dobson, 96% rostered. He's got 4 points in his last 14 games. He's getting a lot of minutes, but the shots have not been that great for Dobson. And the last little bit, blocks are fine. Doesn't really hit. So if he's not scoring any points, he's only got 19 points in 35 games on the season. Yeah, what are we doing with Noah Dobson? I think he's a terrific NHL defenseman. I think he's doing pretty much exactly what Montreal acquired him for. I don't think they're mad about what Noah Dobson has brought to the table this year. But yeah, I think that probably if he's this highly rostered, he's being rostered in like a lot of 8-team leagues, and he probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, yeah, he's doing, like you said, he's doing exactly what they wanted him to do there. He's pacing for 46 points. He paced for 45 last year, right? But we knew this guy wasn't going to get power play one, and it's not a Jacob Chikrin to Washington situation. Like, we got Lane Hudson out here. He's the guy on power play one. Noah Dobson's not really going to get a sniff out there. So yeah, it's kind of a puzzling fantasy piece. I think he's like a fourth to fifth defenseman on your team at best, but yet he's rostered in a lot of spots. So yeah, good call there. My ugliest Christmas tree, and I don't hate the player, but it's Dylan Strome. I think, yeah, things have they've finally it kind of matched what we maybe thought was going to happen here. He had some magic last year with Ovechkin popping off, right? Strome had 82 points last year, and it steamed him up the draft boards. And now he's got 26 points in 34 games with only 6 goals. So he's really not putting the biscuit in the basket, and he's pacing for 63 points after 82 last year. So yeah, I mean, Strome to me is approaching streamer level, right? With some of these other Washington guys. Protas, is another guy that I would kind of compare. I'd almost rather have Protas than Strome. Like if I don't know, that might be a hot take. Like Strome's, yeah, don't shake your head, Nate. All right, damn it. I heard you talk some yang on Protas in the last pod, and I'm here to set the record straight. Don't drop Alexi Protas. All right, what are you doing? Anyways, yeah, I like Strome, but again, guy that doesn't shoot, doesn't generate his own chances, and if he's not scoring, he's not giving you anything. The periffs are terrible. He doesn't shoot, so yeah, it's just he's rostered pretty highly, and I think we're sort of expecting what he did last year, and I just don't think it's going to happen.
Fair enough. I have better hopes for Dylan Strome. 19th on the year in on-ice expected goals for per 60 is Dylan Strome, and I still think that's a pretty good number.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
All right, next up, Oliebollen. This is a Dutch treat that I have known and loved, and it's basically like a donut ball. Like it literally means oil ball in Dutch. I've spoken about this before.
Delicious.
And you dip it in powdered sugar and you eat it, and it gives you a heart attack instantly. So it's great for that. At Christmas, keeps the
Getting
conversation
lodged in
lively,
this region.
and 911 on speed dial. So basically, what we're going with here, though, is a player who's been great in the early going, but we think will disappoint managers moving forwards, just as Oliebollen disappoint people after they've consumed far too many of them, and then they can't move for the rest of their holidays. So for me, that's going to be Morgan Geeky. I think this is a pretty obvious one. He continues to absolutely pop off, and he has some good metrics. Don't get me wrong. I think he's playing very well. I think that is legitimate. What I don't think is legitimate is the 74% IPP, the 28% shooting percentage, and the 16% on ice shooting percentage. Those are all insane numbers. If he hit those over the course of the entire season, that would be just absolutely gobsmacking for me personally. So I think you can expect that Morgan Geeky will have good season rest of the way, but this is by far the high water point in my estimation. It would not surprise me if things start to go a little bit more normally for Mr. Geeky the rest of the way.
This is the new normal, Nathan. All right, we got the Geekster out here. Nerd alert. Yeah, he's been unbelievable. I just watched a game with him the other day. He really is. It's you can tell how dangerous he is out there and how confident he is with his shot. This guy can really shoot the puck. So yeah, I mean he's running hot in every metric. I could see that happening for the rest of the season. I could see him getting 80 points with like these really high numbers. But zooming out and looking at Morgan Geeky moving forward, like this would be the absolute, like you said, the absolute high water mark. I don't see how he could repeat something like this, even repeat what he's done already. This is crazy stuff, but it does just kind of show how good David Pastrnak is as a facilitator. And I think how good Elias Lindholm is as kind of that connector between the defense and the wingers, right? And you talked about Elias Lindholm a little earlier. So I like Morgan Geeky. I think 40 goals is pretty much a floor at this point. I could see him getting 50 this year, kind of in like a Sam Reinhart style of season. But yeah, I don't expect this to kind of be the new normal for him moving forward. Anyways, my player is Anton Lundell. And yeah, I like the player. But you know, I just think he has a shelf life, right? And that's common sense. With Matt Tkachuk and Barkov coming back here at some point, right? Lundell's is going to see his role kind of move back down to that third line center, you know, where kind of the defensive center there. But 63 points so far, 63 point pace in 35 games. Really nice stuff for Anton Lundell. And he's still a young guy. He's only 24. This is the type of player to me that it would be interesting to see on another team that would give him like some solid top six deployment, right? Consistently where he doesn't have to worry about someone else coming back and bumping him down, right? Like when Barkov comes back, this guy's getting bumped down. There's no question, right? He's kind of filling a gap right now, but it's been a nice season for Anton Lundell. I mean, the metrics are so, right? 168th overall in shots goal per 60, 240th in individual expected goals per 60. So that's kind of gross, but he's been really efficient. The IPP is good. It's just, I don't know. I feel like this is a guy that's going to disappoint us later on. So I wanted to throw that out there. If you're expecting Lundell to keep on the 63-point pace, I think he's probably going to go back down to that 40 to 50-point pace, probably sooner rather than later.
I also wanted on the record that I disagree strongly. Anton Lundell is the truth. I acquired him in the APL, and he's going to help me get back
Oh, yeah.
to the fantasy playoffs there.
Okay,
So,
I like that, sir. Carry on. Hope you the
I
best.
actually do believe in Anton Lundell for what it's worth. I think that like Barkov's not going to be back until maybe playoffs, and so I think that Tkachuk coming back probably only helps him. Lundell's not on top power play, or at least wasn't the last time I checked, unless they changed him in this latest game, and I didn't see. And he's still scoring goals. He's got 4 points in his last five. I think he's fine. Yeah, it's been the Bennett Reinhardt Verhage Marchand show on the top power play. But yeah, Lundell's been fine playing alongside Sam Reinhart. I think if Tkachuk comes back, that should only mean even better wingers for Anton Lundell. I'm a fan, personally.
All right.
I'm not a hater like Blake.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. Basically, Santa, these are, I think this goes without saying, but basically these players keep on giving us gifts. They are consistent performers, maybe even more consistent than we actually thought at the beginning of the season. We're not going to dig deep on these guys, but for myself, got to shout out Macklin Celebrini. Unbelievable year he's having. This guy, if the NHL redrafted today, he would be like, if the NHL redrafted all of its players across all of its teams today, he would be a top 10 pick. And there's not a doubt in my mind about that, if not higher. So he's, yeah, just highly regarded across the entire league by every single player, every single general manager, every single coach. 41 goal, 123 point pace on an abysmal San
Crazy
Jose
stuff.
team
Love
that
it.
doesn't have, like, who's the next highest point scorer on the team? It was Will Smith, right? It was on like what, a 73 point pace or something. Like, it's all Celebrini, and it's just unbelievable. Absolute treat to watch. Plays the game 200 foot. Like, what more can you say? I said I wasn't gonna say too much about these players, but Celebrini gets me going. I absolutely
Yeah, he's
love that
unbelievable.
player. Drake Batherson deserves this shout out as well. For the season he's having 34 goal, 85 point pace for Drake Batherson. I've said before, I kind of feel like this might just be his Matt Duchene moment, where he kind of pops off for a year, a little bit under the hood, undercover, out of the eye of the fantasy community, and everybody's just pretty happy about it who drafted him. So, love Drake Batherson. Has been an A&G favorite in the past. Love to see him having a good year. Matt Boldy, last one here, 5 goals, 8 points in his last 5 games. Really been popping off since Quinn Hughes joined the team there. He's on a 50 goal, 98 point pace now.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely love to see that. Probably running a little bit hot, but absolutely love to see Matt Boldy finally pulling through on all that potential we knew he had.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Love these players. Love Macklin Celebrini too. So great pull there. My guys, basically Santa Martin Natchez. I got to shout out my boy. There was a little bit of, not concern, but I think risk in taking him as high as he was being drafted, and he's absolutely delivered. I love it. He's on 111 point pace. Marty Natchez, say it ain't so, buddy. This is excellent, right? And I love it. I mean, this is a guy. Last year we were like, yeah, he's going to break out. He's going to get 70 points, and he popped off last year, and now he's on 111 point pace. So I love Marty Natchez. Obviously landed in the best possible spot for fantasy. Has chemistry with Nathan McKinnon, who's absolutely gone bonkers this year. So yeah, love Marty Natchez, and he's absolutely worth your 3rd round pick here. Really great stuff. Zach Werenski's my number 2. Not a lot needs to be said. He's been one of the best defensemen in the league. To me, he's closer to he's closer to Cale Makar than he is to Quinn Hughes. I feel like he's such a good shooter. He's an amazing goal scorer. The facilitation is great as well, but a lot of it comes off of like rebounds that Zach Werenski's just firing the puck. Like, he had an 8-shot game the other night. This guy, he's just unreal. He's playing like a forward out there, and you love to see it. So I'm a big fan of Zach Werenski. Hopefully he's not too badly injured, and we get him back in our lineups here pretty quick. And then Wyatt Johnston, I wanted to throw him in here as well. Guy's been unbelievable, especially on the power play. Damn. Like, I was so excited about that Dallas power play, and I'm glad that it did come to fruition here. But yeah, Joe has 13 power play goals already in just 37 games, 22 power play points. This is bonkers stuff, and he's getting insane deployment as well with Mikko Rantanen, who's been a stud as well. So yeah, I love Wyatt Johnston, and hopefully you're able to get him in some of your leagues.
All right, Blake, I think we have a pretty big order of business that you promised the people that needs to happen at this point. I didn't do a Crossing the Stream story on the Waiver Wire show, but I think you have prepared something for the people this time.
It's not a preparation. These are facts, Nate. Okay, I don't have to prepare anything. I just have to scour my brain and then, spit out what actually happened to us, right? And I know, what's funny about Crossing the Streams is that people either love it or they hate it. And you know what? I love those haters. This one's for the haters out there. I'm super happy to bring this to you. Thank you for joining us here on the Apples and Ginos Fantasy Hockey Podcast at this wonderful time of year. This is Christmas time. This is holiday season. All right. And Nate and I are big Christmas guys, right? We got lots of holiday traditions that we like to do right on annually. Nate and I, first off, whenever we get together around Christmas time, we like to drink eggnog together, but we do that arm linking thing, right? Nate, you know what I'm talking about? We link arms and then we stare at each other and then we kind of get the chug it back. That's kind of what we do. Nate, he's lactose intolerant, so we have to get like some special like Almond-nog or something for him. That's fine. It's not the same. We put a little cinnamon in there. It's good. Rum, that'll get the job done. Anyways, we do that every time together. That's fine. We also do a sleepover as well. We do a Christmas Eve sleepover. So I'm looking forward to that this year, buddy. We get our sleeping bags together. One sleeping bag, but it's a 2-person, right? But we like the body heat. One of the things that we do every year that I want to talk to you about here today, folks, is we go to an annual NHL Christmas pageant, right? And it's a great time. Obviously, a lot of our favorite players, friends of the show, right? Vinny Tro, Ross Cameo, Colton, the Zucchini Man, Charlie Coyle, the Coiler, right? And many, many others. They do a pageant, right? That Christmas pageant. You ever go to these things? And Nate always brings like a camcorder from the late 90s, right? He's got it on his shoulder. He likes to film it so we can watch it later, right? It's great stuff. But anyways, Nate and I always like to go down there to support our boys. And this year was particularly interesting. I want to tell you about this. So we head over there, right? We start the night off as we normally do with some pixie sticks and eggnog, right? That's how Nate likes to get the biz on a random Tuesday. Yeah. Sorry, I love thinking about you just going crazy on pixie sticks. I don't know. There's something about that just gives me a lot of joy. Anyways, yeah. So we start the night off with some pixie sticks, eggnog, and then we unwrap presents, right? I already told you, Nate, what you're getting, right? You're getting the official Apples and Ginos urinal, right? With matching urinal cakes, the A&G urinal cakes. And this year, Nate got me a really thoughtful gift, a subscription for a Turkish hair transplant. So I thought maybe I thought that's very thoughtful, buddy. Thank you. I've still got enough coverage up here, but I'll go down there. He did say he got it at a massive discount though. I don't know. That's fine. I'm glad you were able to save some money there. I'm not sure what I'm getting into there. Anyways, I can't wait to see how it turns out. I'll show all the folks here on the Apples and Ginos YouTube channel. All right. It's going to be great. I'm going full. I want to get like a full mullet happening now. I think that's, once I can get this part sorted out. Anyways, that's fine. Gifts are out of the way. Nate and I, we head to the pageant, right, to support our boys. Okay, we sit down, and Nate is always the type of guy. He always wants to sit in the front row. He's an eager beaver, right? I'm more of a back of the bus guy. What is that, Nate? Why do you want to sit in the front row all the time?
Yeah, that is a great question. Why do I always want to sit in the front row?
I don't know. Maybe it's just compulsion. I don't know. You like the way the seat feels on your bottom. That's fine. No matter. Anyways, we're watching the show. Ross Colton did a rousing version of Santa Baby dressed as Mrs. Claus, right? We really enjoyed that. It was oddly moving. Remember, you were getting a bit misty during that. I don't know what's going on
Who
there.
wouldn't?
Yeah, I mean, that's fine. The Zucchini Man, Matt Zuccarello, and the Coiler did an interpretive dance to the Alvin and the Chipmunks Christmas song. You know that one, Nate? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. I forgot to mention that. Honestly, that was a little hard to watch, right? That was kind of a train wreck. And at one point, Zuccarello tried to kick his leg over Coyle's head, but he ended up like getting him right in the temple with it and like subsequently knocked him out, right? Like at a flash knockdown. But they finished it up, right? It was fine. There's a smattering of applause. And, then it was intermission. So we learned in the intermission, this is really cool. A couple surprise guests were there for the finale. Connor McDavid and Nathan McKinnon, your league leaders in scoring, were there as part of the, pageant. So it was amazing stuff. Nate and I were really excited, but that nature was calling, right? Nate says to me, he's like, buddy, yeah, I think I gotta go pee. I'm like, you know what? I could do that, right? Like, and Nate, you'll understand this with kids. Do you ever say to your kids, like when you're about to go out the house, you're like, can you go try and pee? Like, just go try, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I'll try and pee. That's fine, right? So we go to the bathroom together. And the lineup was insane, right? We couldn't get in there because apparently the Coiler was in there, just filling the bowl, right? It was like a hazmat situation. They had to clean up in there. He was still in a stall. That's fine. Filled the bowl. But anyways, we still had a few minutes to showtime. So we had to go. Nate was percolating, right? So we find a side door. We went in there. It was dark. We couldn't really see what we're doing, but that never stopped us from crossing the streams before, and it wouldn't do it today. So, we work quickly, right? We unzip, we get the streams going. If Nate and I are together, we're crossing the streams, right? That's just what's happening. So, anyways, all of a sudden we hear a voice. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Connor McDavid as Santa Claus and Nathan McKinnon as Rudolph, right? And we didn't realize it, but we were on the stage. All right. We were on the stage of the show with our backs to the audience. And, the curtain, like it was dark. We couldn't see what we're doing. The curtains, they rise. Right. And we learned that we were peeing directly on a nativity scene. Oh my God, it's unbelievable. Right on a wise man's foot. Okay, so this is really odd. And our backs, so it's embarrassing. We're trying to, kind of finish up. McDavid looks over. He just shakes his head. McKinnon took his red nose off. He threw it in our direction, right? He's screaming obscenities, and the nose hit me right in the side of the head. I fell into some hay in the manger. Nate, he ducks to the side, tries to run, but his pants were down, so he sort of just fell over, biffed into a Christmas tree next to the manger. The crowd was stunned, right? It's silence for about 10 seconds. People didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden, it's just a roar of applause and laughter, right? People were cheering. I saw some people crying tears of joy. I don't know why that would move you, but it did. Anyways, I guess they thought it was part of the show. Meanwhile, Nate and I are on stage with McDavid and McKinnon. They're angry as hell, right? Because we stole their big moment, right? McDavid, he's got a crazy look in his eye. He tried to push me off stage with his big Santa boot, right? But he telegraphed it. So I juked to the side, right? And he just kind of fell off the stage into the symphony pit, right into a tuba. He fell into the tuba. Nate, you remember this. And then McKinnon, he clearly wanted to avenge McDavid, right? So he goes charging for Nate. But Nate's a quick thinker, folks. And he basically pulled his pants all the way off. He started swinging them around like this, and he whips it. He gets McKinnon's legs, and McKinnon falls straight down, smokes his face on the ground, knocks a tooth out, right? And then he kind of slipped off into the symphony pit. So, yeah, now security's involved. They're realizing it's not part of the show. They start to descend on us. They swarm. But, Nate notices a lever. I say, Nate, get the lever, right? And he pulls it, and it's a trap door. It goes down into the bottom. So we slither kind of in there. Nate's got no pants on, right? Completely full frontal happening there for Nathan. And then that's fine. You know what I mean? It's a Christmas show. So, anyways, we were able to get down in there. Luckily, there's a door leading to the parking lot. We're able to make our escape. We start the car really quick. It's like one of those things. You get the keys in the door and you're rattling it. We get in just in time. We're driving away. There's an angry mob chasing us, right? McKinnon's there with his one tooth off. Ross Colton still in his Mrs. Claus outfit. Anyways, needless to say, it was a Christmas that we won't soon forget. But I'm glad I got to share it with you, buddy, and all you fine folks who listen here to Apples and Ginos and support Apples and Ginos. We couldn't do what we do without you. We appreciate you so much. We wish you all the best in the holiday season. Thank you for your service.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Very well done, sir.
That's right. That happened. That's not a story. That happened.
Yes. Thank you for relaying that.
I know. It was the other day, right? Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
I forgot last order of business. Head-to-head streamer deathmatch.
We don't need that.
I'm going to 6-3-1 after Alexis Lafreniere's disgusting 8.75 points in 5 games this week. You had Ben Kindle, who had 3.7 points in 4 games. So suffice it to say, neither of us are going to remember this week fondly. Hopefully next week is better. You have Oliver Bjorkstrand. I have Eli Tolvanen.
That's right.
And so obviously Tolvanen's going to pop off because Blake has lost the plot.
I lost my mojo. Yeah, I absolutely did.
Deathmatch. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it. Thanks, everybody, for coming with us on this journey of a holiday special. But that is going to be all that we've got for this episode. Hopefully it brought you some value, helped you get a little bit better at fantasy hockey today. All the advanced stats you heard today came from Natural Stat Trick and 18 Skaters. Many thanks to Matt Creamer for supplying the music for the podcast. That's it, folks. Much love from all of us to all of you. Have a good night.